Welcome to the Reparenting Daily podcast. In this podcast, we'll dive deep into reparenting, exploring tools and resources to help us through our journey. The podcast is divided into 3 sections. First is a reading. Second is a discussion of the reading, followed by a journal prompt. And the last section is a peaceful meditation for closing. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from whenever and wherever you're joining us. Thanks again for taking some time from your day. Again, if you haven't listened to some of the earlier episodes, I apologize for my voice sometimes. I recently got braces not so long ago, and I'm still learning how to speak in these, so sometimes my voice is a little bit, my tongue is getting caught on the braces. Actually, my tongue got literally caught on the hook the other day. It was so scary. I was like, oh my god, I didn't even know this can happen, but my tongue literally got caught all the way on the side of my mouth where the rubber band hook is. It was so crazy. But yeah, gladly it was not bleeding too much, and I did manage to detach my tongue after about maybe 40 seconds, but yeah, it was quite an ordeal. In any case, let's start reading up today. Today we're going to look at Read People Like a Book, and this is by Patrick King. Read People Like a Book, how to understand, analyze, and predict people's emotions, thoughts, intentions, and behaviors. Today we're starting off at Chapter 2, The Body, the Face, and Clusters. So this is basically about body language. In this book, again, if you forgot, is about social psychology, social skills, social influence, and these type of things, communication as well. So here we go. The body, the face, and clusters. The idea that people cannot help but reveal their true intentions and feelings, one way or another, is an appealing one. People can say whatever they like, but it's always been understood that actions speak louder than words, and people's facial expressions or body language can inadvertently reveal their deepest selves. We are in effect communicating all the time, sending out information about our intentions and feelings, but only a small fraction of this is verbal. Observing people's actions and behavior in real time is what we most commonly understand to be analyzing people. This might seem natural to look at people's physical bodies in space, to intuit what's going on in their heads, and there's plenty of scientific evidence to support these claims. Physical appearance can tell you a lot about a person's feelings, motivations, and fears, even if they are actively trying to conceal these. In other words, the body doesn't lie. Nevertheless, this approach to understanding people's motivations is not foolproof. When we're interacting with others and trying to understand what makes them tick, it's important to be cautious when making assumptions. We're all individual, and context is very important. Though we can use various methods to read facial expressions and body language, it pays to remember that no single piece of information is enough to prove anything, and that the art of reading people this way comes down to taking a holistic view of the full scenario as it unfolds in front of you. Look at my face. Let's begin with Haggard and Isaac in the 1960s. The film couple's face during therapy, and notice little expressions that could only be caught when the film was slowed down. Later on, Paul Ekman expanded on his own theory on microexpressions and published a book telling lies. We all know how to read macroexpression, those facial movements that last up to 4 seconds in duration, but there are quicker, more fleeting expressions that are so fast they could easily be missed by the untrained eye. According to Ekman, facial expressions are actually physiological reactions. These expressions occur even when you're not around anyone who could see them. He found that across cultures, people use macroexpressions to display their emotions on their faces in very predictable ways, even when they were attempting to conceal them, or even when they themselves were unaware of the emotion. His research led him to believe that macroexpressions are spontaneous, tiny contractions of certain muscles and face groups that are predictably related to emotions, and are the same in all people regardless of upbringing, background, or cultural expectation. They can be as quick as 1/13 of a second long, but catching them and understanding what they mean is a way to cut through what is merely said to get to the deeper truth of what people feel and believe. Microexpressions can be, to some extent, forced or exaggerated, but not microexpressions. But microexpressions are understood to be more genuine and difficult to fake, or else suggestive of concealed or rapidly changing emotions. Within the brain, there are two neural pathways related to facial expressions. The first is the pyramidal tract, responsible for voluntary expressions, most macroexpressions, and the extrapyramidal tract responsible for involuntary emotional facial expressions, microexpressions. Researchers have discovered that individuals experience intense emotional situations, but also external pressure to control or hide expressions will show activity in both of these pathways. This suggests that they are working one on another, with the more conscious and voluntary expressions dominating the involuntary ones. Nevertheless, some tiny expressions of the real emotion may leak out. This is what you're looking for when you attempt to read a person in that way. So just exactly how does one learn to read these expressions? Can you really decode a person's deepest feelings just by looking at a twitch of their nose or a wrinkle in their brow? According to Ekman, there are 6 universal human emotions, all with corresponding facial expressions. Happiness is seen in lifted cheeks, with the corners of the mouth raised up and back. Wrinkles appear under the eyes, between the upper lip and nose, and the corners of the eyes. In other words, these movements were all familiar within an ordinary smile. Are there on a macro level too? Microexpressions suggesting sadness are also what you'd expect. The outer corner of the eyes drop down, along with the corners of the lips. The lower lip may even tremble. Eyebrows may form a telltale triangle shape, the emotion of disgust. The upper lip lifts up and may be accompanied by wrinkles above it, and wrinkles on the forehead. The eyes may narrow slightly as the cheeks are raised. For anger, eyebrows are lowered and tensed up, often at a downward angle. Eyes tighten too, and the lips may be pursed or held stiffly open. The eyes are staring and piercing. Fear, on the other hand, entails similar contractions but upward. Whether open or closed, the mouth is tense, and both upper and lower eyelids are lifted. Finally, surprise or shock will show itself in elevated eyebrows, rounded rather than triangular. Like with sadness, the upper eyelid lifts up, and the lower eyelids stretch downward, opening the eyes wide. Sometimes the jaw can hang open as well. As you can see, microexpressions are not very different from macroexpressions in the muscles that are involved. The main difference is in the speed. Thank you, and that's the reading for today. Welcome back. Thanks again for being here for another day of this great book by Patrick King. He has an excellent podcast, by the way. Check that out. It's really great. It's on his website. You'll find the link. So this section on chapter 2, the body, the face, and clusters. So we're just starting out on this. So it's just beginning, focusing on microexpressions, which is really important as we start to build our understanding of people, how to improve our social intelligence, emotional intelligence, as we start to build more healthier connections with people, because this is something that we generally lacked, so we did not have the capacity to build those skill sets. We developed skill sets for toxic relationships. And so what I would like to encourage you to reflect on today is, how aware are you of micro and macro expressions? Were you aware of these two terms and concepts? Do you tend to be a hypersensitive or a hypervigilant person who can shift every movement in someone's facial expressions? If so, And this is one case when your hypervigilance can come in handy, because you can actually train that to focus on certain types of conditions, body language, postures. It just takes us learning the skills, but actually our hypervigilance can also come into use. Obviously, we want to learn how to manage our hypervigilance, but that's an organic part of our core nature that we can capitalize on. It's about changing the perspective, right? And that will increase our self-protection, which is self-fathering, right? So all of this is really coming together to improve our sense of protection as we refather ourselves. So reflect on that today. Your ability to detect micro and micro expressions. How sensitive are you to others and their intentions and behaviors? As always, thank you for being here. Take care of yourself and be well. And now, let us move on to the final section, the meditation. This is an unguided meditation. I will simply provide some music and you can take some time to relax. Please feel free to choose a location and a place where you feel safe and where you can be undisturbed for the next 10 minutes. You can choose to be sitting down, standing, as you like, wherever you are most comfortable. Thank you for being here and enjoy the meditation.